So everyone is joining, and then it's 9:30 now. So I think we can get started. So welcome to today's webinar titled Empowering Education Through AI Literacy and Upskilling Insights from the US and UNM. So my name is Jennifer. I'm one today's host from the HKUST Library. So today we are very lucky and honored to have invited Dr. Leo Low to join us and then to give us the talk. So Dr. Leo Low is the Dean and Professor of the College of University Libraries and Learning Sciences at the University of New Mexico. He provides leadership for advancing AI literacy and also workforce upskilling, especially in the context of AI integration. So also as the current president of the Association of College and Research Libraries, ACRL in the United States, Dr. Low has established a national task force to develop a set of AI competencies. Dr. Low holds a doctorate degree in higher education management from the UPenn. So today we are going to have a roughly 1 hour webinar. The first half will be Dr. Low giving us a talk, and then the rest of the time will be allocated to Q&A and also discussion. So everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to add your question to the Q&A panel or leave it into chat, and we will go through them later on. And also at the same time, Dr. Low also provided some questions that he wants to learn from the Hong Kong audience, also maybe the questions to people from other regions. So we will see how it goes later on. So without further ado, let's give the time to Leo Low. Thank you. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. And good morning, everyone. It's evening time here, but it's morning time over there. So great to be here. And just want to say a quick thank you to Gabby and the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology Library for organizing this talk. I am particularly excited because I'm originally from Hong Kong, and this is really the first time I get to engage with my Hong Kong colleagues. So it's great. Thank you for the introduction, Jennifer. So I'll go straight into the presentation. So three parts. In my talk, I will talk about AI literacy among librarians in the US. I have done a study last summer, and then I just finished the follow-up study. So I'll share a little bit of the findings there. So maybe you can compare it to Hong Kong librarians. And then based on the first study, I have developed a upskilling program at my university. So I'll share like a case study of that, and then maybe you can kind of see where there are things that you may want to use at your own institutions, and we can talk about it in the discussion part. And then part 3, Q&A discussions. I would love to learn from you as well. So let's get to the first question that I have for you. Can you just type in the chat, have you tried ChatGPT? Just yes or no in the chat. So I ask this question every time I present, and I'm saying all the yeses, a lot of yeses. Yes, and this is quite consistent. Oh my, I don't think I've seen a no yet. So it's all yeses so far, which is great. In the US, every time I ask this question, it's mostly yes, but they're always like maybe 5 to 10% no's. So looks like you've all tried it. That's great. So let me just start with a short anecdote. So at a higher education conference recently, I was engaged with a colleague. He very confidently said that, oh, AI is kind of like a scientific calculator. And he argued that just like calculators have not changed the nature of mathematics, AI will not change the essence of, literature or math and other disciplines. So this perspective, I think, is quite common. In fact, I used to make the same analogy maybe a year ago. But since then, I'm kind of recognizing this perspective frames AI as a useful but rather limited tool. I now believe that this viewpoint really underestimates AI's dynamic and adaptive capabilities. So generative AI presents a foundational technology with the potential to reshape and I think transform pretty much all sectors, including libraries and education. So instead of scientific calculators, I think it's analogous to how fire or electricity and the internet has transformed society, not just by making the existing tasks easier, but by enabling entirely new activities and interactions. So I think understanding this difference is really crucial as we move forward to really reimagine all the possibilities that AI can bring. So, and to truly kind of grasp the transformative potential of generative AI, let's just draw some parallels with historical foundational technology. So let's consider the impact of fire. Fire wasn't just a source of warmth, it fundamentally altered human existence by enabling cooking, protection, community gatherings, which really advanced human development. So the discovery of fire as a foundational technology has completely transformed human society. And then we have electricity. When it was first introduced, there was really a lot of excitement about its potential to really revolutionize industries and daily life. But it took years of experimentation, infrastructure development, and societal adaptation before its benefits were really fully realized. And electricity didn't just make tasks easier, it enabled entirely new industries like telecommunications, computing. And with computing, the advance of the internet also brought really high expectations. Now, initially, it was seen as a tool for faster communication. But over time, it has transformed how we connect, how we learn, conduct businesses, create new economies, changing societal structures. I think generative AI is on a very similar trajectory. It has the potential to enable entirely new activities and interactions, not just by improving existing tasks or processes. So we want to understand this historical parallel so we can, I think, better appreciate the power, the potential of AI when we look at it as a foundational technology. Now, remember, whenever there's new technologies, there's always resistance. I found this picture. Apparently, there was an anti-electricity propaganda back then too. So when electricity first appeared, people were like, this is too dangerous. This is too harmful. We should ban it. So I think we are kind of seeing a little bit of that with AI as well. So with that, we kind of, I think we're in a very fascinating transitional phase of AI development, kind of like the early days of the internet. So the high expectations for AI, potential kind of coexist with the reality that many of these AI tools are still evolving. A lot of companies are trying to make these tools, but I think it's just a period of experimentation and cautious optimism. I don't think any companies have really figured it out yet. So, and this kind of rapid change has brought us to a point where we talk about the AI hype. I think we are getting to the peak of that. Either we're getting to the peak or we are already hit the peak and we're coming down already. So I expect that there will be a period where the expectations, the hype and everything is kind of, the bubble will be burst a little bit when people could not really figure out how to use the tool, just like at the beginning of the internet stage. But eventually people will figure it out, and there will be companies like Google or Facebook or Amazon really being able to take advantage of it, and it will come back up to the slope of enlightenment and plateau of productivity. So this graph is by Gartner, charting the journey of a new technology. So, and I believe that generative AI is following this. We are near the peak right now. So moving forward, there'll probably be some kind of trial. Basically, people kind of getting disappointed on, well, we still haven't figured out how to use it really well yet. So expect that, but I believe that period, the drop, is actually a great opportunity for us to really use that period to learn it, to be ready when it goes back up again. And that's why I want to learn about the AI literacy level of librarians in the US so that I can develop training programs for them. And I mentioned that I did a study last year in May 2023, and I just finished collecting data for this follow-up study, which is shorter, but asking some key questions just now this summer, and I will share a little bit of the findings of that one as well. But the motivation of doing these studies is that I want to understand the baseline. So that we can develop training programs or even find ways to integrate AI into library operations if we are ready. Also, identifying gaps and opportunities. And we want to see where librarians may lack knowledge or confidence, including understanding general AI concepts, so how familiar they are with tools or how they perceive their ability in using AI in their work. Ultimately, the surveys are really to gauge the interest and willingness of librarians to engage in AI-related professional development. And I think by understanding librarians' readiness to learn and their preferred methods of training, we can create more effective and engaging upskilling programs. And with AI technologies constantly evolving, it's really important to track the progress over time. That's why I did the follow-up study this year. And these surveys can provide a benchmark that can be used to measure improvement in AI literacy, in how they use AI as more training and resources are provided. I'm going to ask you a second question now. You use ChatGPT, but how many of you have you ever paid for a premium version of any of the AI tools like GPT 4.0, Claude 3, etc.? You just type yes or no in the chat. Yeah, it's no, yes, no, no. Okay. I think there are more no's than yes, but close. Yeah, okay. Yes, that definitely more no's. Which is also consistent. Most people do not pay for them. Even sometimes maybe the institution may provide some premium versions of it, but most people don't. So this is also very consistent. Well, let me share the findings of the first survey. So remember that was conducted in May, and ChatGPT came out in November the previous year. So it's like 6 months or so after ChatGPT first appeared. And so when I asked the US librarians, mostly US librarians, how their understanding of general AI concepts, we got a mean score of 2.96, the midpoint being 3 out of 5. So it's a little bit below midpoint. And they're not that familiar with generative AI tools with an average score of 2.71. That definitely gaps that exists in especially ethical implications of AI on collaborating on AI projects and definitely with troubleshooting AI tools, the technical aspect of it. There were notable demand for training on AI concepts, AI tools and applications, and addressing privacy and ethical concerns. About 1/3 of them, 34%, have participated in any forms of training or professional development. And there was a strong emphasis on addressing ethical and privacy issues, with 74% agreeing that this is extremely urgent, and they wanted guidelines for that. Now, I asked you who paid for the premium version. In my survey, only 8% of the people pay for the premium version of AI tools. However, those 8% tend to have higher understanding of AI concepts and also how familiar they are with AI tools, and also much more confident in using AI tools. So probably because they have more exposure, they pay for it, they probably use it more. And also with training, the more people higher up in their organizations participate in trainings, hires among senior management and professionals like professional librarians versus staff. So that's interesting as well. So I did my follow-up study this year, and I just want to share I haven't really dug into it yet, but I can share some preliminary findings. With the understanding of AI concepts, the first survey, remember, was 2.96. This year, a lot higher, 3.34. How familiar they are with tools, once again, is above midpoint this year, 3.14. And more people are paying for the premium AI tools, more than double than the first year. And a lot more people have participated in training and professional development. And also a lot more people are agreeing that AI has the potential to really benefit library operation. I think there's a more optimism in the potential of AI. Oops, sorry. So I think that the growing awareness of AI tools reflect the broader adoption of AI technologies, and also the I would say modest increase in how familiar they are, suggests that while librarians are beginning to really recognize these tools, there's still a gap in fully understanding their capabilities and how to integrate them. That really still say that there's a need for focused training and not just to introduce these tools, but also provide hands-on practical experience in using them. And the doubling of participation in AI training, right, I think is a strong indicator that our profession is really beginning to take the need for AI literacy seriously. However, while the increase is promising, I think it raises questions about the depth and quality of the training being provided. Are these training sessions comprehensive enough? I think the next step is ensuring that this growing interest in AI training translates into substantive skill development that really empowers librarians to really use AI in their work. Also, the change in the perceived benefits of AI also points to more of a shift in mindset. As more librarians begin to see the positive impact of AI, they're likely to become more open to adopting these technologies. I think this growing positivity is really essential for driving the broader adoption of AI in libraries. But to me, the first step is still education and training, learning more about it. So with that, what are the implications for librarians? We need to continue the professional development to close some of these AI gaps. AI is changing, and we need to make sure that we keep up, and continuous professional development is really essential. Knowing what the knowledge and skills gaps are, so we should, keep measuring and then use that information to provide training. And more importantly, I think there needs to be more institutional support and culture. Yes, we can all learn it on our own, but it helps a lot when your institution can provide some kind of infrastructure or programs, or just even encouragement for you to learn. And there is some kind of incentive or reward, perhaps even. And we need to understand how our users feel. At universities, I know students are using it. How can we be the guidance if they are using it probably a lot more than a lot of the faculty and librarians? So this is important as well. And also we need to think about practical implementations, and I'll talk about it in the case studies. And learning is not just about technical proficiency, although it is important to learn a little bit about how AI works, but also, like I mentioned, from the findings, that ethical implications really important. Privacy and data security are very important. And think about the roles of librarians as kind of the ethical guardians. I think just like we provide information literacy to our users, to our students and faculty, we should play some kind of similar roles in the AI literacy environment as well. And we should integrate ethics into professional development. So with all that, let me just share a little bit of what we have done at my university. So after I've done the survey last year, in the summer, I designed a pilot program. We just called it a GPT-4 exploration program, because we found out that so few people actually have access to the premium version. So I decided to pay for that. So and learning a little bit more about what they wanted, I applied the adult learning principles by Malcolm Knowles. So adults learn very differently than children. You need to motivate them or incentivize them in different ways. So I apply that. They need to be a little bit more self-directed and make sure that they are actually ready to learn. You can just tell them to learn something, and something that they can use in pretty much immediately, and understanding the reason for learning. So with that, I didn't want to go for the people who had no interest in learning. So I just targeted the people who wanted to embrace AI. So I asked for 10 volunteers from my college, and more than 10 people applied, but we selected 10 people from different units. And then I asked them to kind of think of a personal project that they want to use GPT-4 for their kind of work directly. And I structure it in the kind of 3 phases of the program. It's a 12-week program. So the first 2 weeks, just introduction and training. At that point, there weren't a lot of training tutorials, but we found one called Boot Camp for Librarians or something like that. So we watched that. It was helpful because nobody knew too much at that point. And then use the first 2 weeks to think more about what project they want to apply GPT-4. And then the following 8 weeks is that they actually use it for work, use GPT for work, and document everything. I gave them a template. They'll write down things that worked, prompts, for example, or things that didn't work, or concerns that they have. And then we'll get together every other week to talk, almost like a community of practice. They share tips, lessons learned, and challenges and concerns and all of that. And then the final 2 weeks, you just get together and wrap up and put together a presentation for the rest of the college and the university as well. And then I can show you some examples of what people's projects were. We have somebody from the university press of exploring AI application in summarizing abstract for him. And then somebody is a little bit more advanced doing machine readable data management plans. And then the reference librarian investigating hallucinations. So there's some good outcomes, I think. AI literacy. So that we did pre and post program surveys. So with how familiar they are with the tools, we only got a 3.36 out of 5, lower than the national average of 2.71. But after the program, it has risen significantly to 3.63, even more than this year's score in the survey. I think it's that really indicates they're much more comfortable and proficient with these AI tools, and hands-on learning approach was helpful. One person said the program transformed my view of AI from a very vague concept to a tangible tool that I now use daily in my work. And then I mentioned community of practice. I think the collaborative learning environment was really helpful to people as well. One person said, learning from my peers was as valuable as the formal training sessions. It was enlightening to see the diverse applications of AI across different library departments. And I think this is true in different disciplines. I think people tend to listen to their peers more. I think so. Having a community is actually very, very useful for learning together. And also the impact on work practice and efficiency. All the participants reported a notable shift in their approach to work, and with a heightened emphasis on leveraging technology to enhance productivity and service quality. So these people are just, they're embracing new technology. They want to use it. And I think this gives them a chance to try it out, and then they can decide whether this is ready for prime time to integrate or not, but they have already started it. And because of that, now I'm providing basically half my college access to the premium version of GPT. And they have all been taken up. The other half, of the libraries, they were not as interested. I don't need everybody to be interested, but for those who are, I want to give them that platform or that infrastructure to do it. And they kept asking me, should I use it for work? I said, I don't care. Just use it. Just play with it and then share with your peers so we can learn from each other. That's really the whole point at this period. Because so after last summer, because we felt that it was so successful, we have expanded this program to outside the libraries. So this summer, we just finished these. We have a AI for teaching. So we pay for the GPT-4 for teaching faculty to use. It's a similar program, but instead of 12 weeks, it's 4 weeks. They just finished it. And these faculty are great because they're using it immediately to design lesson plans and all of that they can use immediately in their classes. And then we have a second one called AI for research. There's a lit review AI tool called sites.ai that we have subscribed to for a year, and we wanted the faculty to try it out. And some of them like it, some of them maybe not as much, but they kept bringing in different tools to share. And that's a fantastic thing. So same with the teaching one, it's 4 weeks. And we've done a pre and post survey. I'd love to share those later on when we have those kind of compiled. And then the third one, which also is very interesting, we have an AI for OER, open educational resources. So it's for faculty who are interested in using or trying to use AI to develop or enhance open educational resources. At our university, we're really pushing for OER because our students are not usually from the lower kind of socioeconomic classes. So affordability is a really big problem for them. So we want to make textbooks free for them as much as possible. So we have gotten an OER grant to get faculty to develop these. But now we added this AI for OER to get people to try use AI to experiment. And the outcome of this is that we actually pay the faculty in this program $1,000 for an 8-week program. The outcome, what we want from them is try it out and then help us write that chapter, AI chapter in the OER guidebook we have written for our faculty. So there's a link there, and I can put it in the chat later. Inside Higher Ed wrote about our program, so you can read about it as well. So what are some of the next steps? Jennifer mentioned earlier, I'm the president of ACRL, and I have set up an AI competency task force for library workers. So the purpose of this is now we think that AI literacy is important. We want to all learn, but learn what? What is AI literacy? So I charged that task force to come up with a set of the most essential, the most basic, nothing fancy. These are the things that everybody should know about AI. So they are coming up with a set of competencies that all library workers should know about. And we're hoping to unveil that next year in the spring, where the ACRL conference is going to be held, I think in April. So we'll unveil that. But in the meantime, that group will be surveying ACRL members to get their take on it as well. And to do that, I am actually setting up a new AI discussion group for ACRL. So it's in the process of formation. I just need the board to approve it, and then it will be set up. Now, this is actually interesting because you don't need to be an ACRL member or ALA, American Library Association member, to join the discussion group. So once it's set up, I would love to share the link with you, and you can all join and be part of that community and learn from each other, basically. So if we'll get to the discussion Q&A. I share a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and I get a lot of news from LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, feel free to follow me or connect with me there. And I think if you're not on LinkedIn, I highly recommend it. This is where I get a lot of the newest, most updated news on AI and other things, but AI especially, it's become really a good social media platform for professionals. And also, I'll be coming to Hong Kong, later this year. I'll be speaking at the Global AI Forum. It will be on the November 29th at Hotel icon. And I'll put the link. I think yeah, I can put the link in the chat, and then you can see, check it out and see if you want to come. You can use the code speaker30 for 30% off. So if you go, come say hi to me. I'd love to meet you in person. Let me put some resource before we get to Q&A. Let me put some resources and links in the chat so you can have easy access to those. All right, so that's kind of my talk, my part of the things. Do you have any questions for me, or I also have some questions for you if you're up for it?
Hey, thank you, Leo, for the very inspiring talk, the AI literacy survey, and also the exploration program. Yeah, so personally, I follow your LinkedIn updates. Yeah, you post very frequently. Okay, so from the audience, if you have any questions, please do put them into the Q&A or to the chat. It's also fine as well. Okay. While we are seeing the questions coming through, maybe I can ask one question first. So about the two questions maybe. So about the AI literacy survey. Sometimes I will see like maybe from articles or from sharings, sometimes librarians will treat AI literacy as information literacy.
Mm.
And then we'll think about how to revise our information literacy program by integrating the AI component to it. So I'm wondering, so my question is, so when you try to figure out librarians' baseline on AI literacy, will their information literacy baseline be considered as well? So use that, so that's one baseline and then the other baseline, which is
Yes.
the AI info lit.
Yeah. It's a great question because we are thinking about information literacy at ACRL, because ACRL had this information literacy framework that they have developed many years ago, 5 years, 6 years ago. So this is time for review, which is perfect timing. So we have already set up a group to review the framework. And one of the big things is how do we add AI into that as part of information literacy? Because if I may expand a little bit, because I think information literacy will be the way people search for information will change, and the way they have to evaluate information will change. Because if you think about it, we've been using the kind of the Google style search for 20 years now. All the library databases, the catalog, they're kind of like that. You put in a search term or even a question or something, they give you a list of resources. And then you, as the user, you look at those, you assess those, evaluate, and then you pick up something you want, and then you assess the content of it. That's how we've been teaching people in some ways that, how do you find, reliable information and all of that. Now with generative AI, you can see Google and other search engines experimenting with generative AI. So instead of giving you lists of resources, they give you the quote unquote the answer. Now, how do we know how they come up with that answer? That's a huge thing. So what is the information literacy there already? So that means we need to know, librarians, we need to know a little bit of the mechanism of how they come up with that. So in order to say, oh, wait, maybe you shouldn't trust this at this point, or moving forward, how they change. So therefore, AI literacy and information literacy should be linked together in some ways, that you need to have, some technical AI knowledge to begin with. And also, I feel like that with generative AI kind of doing that, they need to be more transparent. So that means there's but they don't particularly want to, I feel like, because it's just easier for them to be not as open. So how that means that there's a kind of advocacy part in there for librarians to advocate for more openness or transparency in how these AI algorithms come up with these answers. And also, that means that they are picking out resources, using their algorithms or however they do it. Then how can we, make sure that it is unbiased and all of that stuff. So it is at a very early stage, but I feel like AI literacy and information literacy should be very tightly linked together. We need to think about both at the same time. And then I will add another thing, and then I'll get to Gabby's question. is that I got asked, there's a reporter asking, what's the librarian's role in AI literacy? How come, you're pushing so hard for librarians to be part of it? I feel like one is there are a lot of teaching moments when people come to our libraries. When ChatGPT first came out, a lot of our students came to the library to ask our library or staff to look up stuff that did not exist. Those were teachable moments. Our librarians weren't ready for those teachable moments to teach them, hey, maybe you shouldn't use ChatGPT for that, but you can use ChatGPT for other things. So that's one thing. The second thing is because everybody wants to be in the AI literacy or AI realm, what's the niche for librarians? It is the information literacy component of the AI part. That means we need to become expert in that. And in order to become expert in that, we need to educate ourselves first on how AI works. And that's why I really want to push for it. It's a long-winded answer to your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabby, raise your hand. So yeah, please go ahead.
My question is pretty much a link to what you were talking about, the competencies you're setting up with ACRL. Can you share a little bit about the process? Because build a competency list is always very difficult. So you have the with ACRL you already have the library, like the as you said, the AI literacy the info competencies list.
Yeah.
So what's the process? How do you start with the AI one?
So it's at the very, very beginning, and I think that I have assigned 2 co-chairs on the task force, and then 10 or 12 people from different areas. That we have a researcher, we have administrators or librarians, and we have library school faculty, and and people from an industry, from vendors. So people from very different perspectives. So what they're doing now, the co-chairs, is assigning, or dividing up into small teams to look at certain aspects of AI literacy and then come back. And so it's just started. So I don't even know what they're doing at this point, because they're supposed to report to me like maybe once a month or something, or every quarter or something. So I don't know how to answer your question at this point, because they are still trying to figure it out. But I think that I mentioned the AI discussion group. That will be the place. So one of the things I actually tasked them to do, that I know they will have to do, because it's part of the task, is that they will have to, once they have some kind of rough draft, they will go to the membership or the AI discussion group and get feedback from people. Are they missing something? Are they on the right track? Or is it too advanced or too basic? My task, I don't need them to do something really, really in depth, because I feel like we just want a foundation, and then other people can build on that foundation on the more niche or specialized areas. So that's the approach. But in terms of the details, I actually don't know at this point.
Thanks, Leo.
Okay, maybe I can ask another question. So I noticed from the 2 rounds of the AI surveys, the first one, probably around 30% of the respondents mentioned that they have taken some training, and then the second round is like 66%. So I wonder, like, this is a very quite sharp jump.
Yeah.
I wonder where they got the training. Is it like more structured or more like at the point of need? Is that part being surveyed?
Yeah. Okay. So as I am answering this question, I would like to ask the audience, have they taken trainings at either the university or elsewhere? If they can put it in the chat, whether their university offers any kind of either workshops or training or tutorials or other things like that. So I think a lot of the associations have put up either webinars or training programs or continuing education credit programs, like the Medical Library Association. They have those that people can earn credits. So I have actually done a couple of those for people. And I have done a course for Sage Publishing on AI interaction. So those are self-paced courses. So a lot of people have taken some of one of those, and then I think a lot of conferences are now have workshops and other things that people can take. And now, obviously, the question itself is very broad. I don't know how they interpret what is considered a training program. So in the future survey, I will actually, after they answer this, I'll actually ask them, exactly what kind of training they have actually taken. But I did ask them what kind of training they prefer, what kind of model they prefer, and most people prefer online. Some of them prefer to have some kind of hands-on training. I guess because traveling is always hard in the US, and going to a conference or going somewhere in person is always expensive. So fewer people want in person. So let me ask the audience, do you prefer in person or online, training for AI? Just type it in the chat. I'd love to hear that. Both online. Yeah. So a lot of people, it's so much more convenient in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah, at UST Library, we have a internal library AI interest group,
Okay.
where Esther and also myself is the co-chairs. So I think earlier in June this year, we did a short survey, and then
Okay.
just to ask like similar questions. And then the general feedback we got is we like to have more practical hands-on exercises with online, maybe, or in person, but we will have the demonstration recorded so that people can refer back to it when they want to use it. So have a record and also have a more practical implication.
Yeah.
And then let's see what's more coming up in the chat.
And so on, yeah. So if people are interested in the program I talked about, I put in a link that there's an article on it. But if you're interested that you actually want to do something like that, feel free to contact me. I'll be, I'm actually working with a couple of universities in the US to help them set up something like that in both kind of, yeah. So reach out and then we can talk.
Maybe let's go to another question from Leo. It's about the AI related projects. How about this one? So I'll put the question to chat from Leo, and then so the question is, so can you share any successful AI related projects or initiatives from your library that has been implemented? Okay, so if anyone from Hong Kong University Libraries or elsewhere from the overseas or from our HKUST colleague, please feel free to share. Yeah.
As people type in there, I see a question from, I think, Victoria. So to expand a bit on the AI and OER efforts at UNM, I'll be happy to do that. So as people can think about their own projects, type in the chat. I would love to hear from you in the chat, so please do that. So the AI and OER, when I was hired at my place about 3 years ago, that was the big thing from my provost to say, I want you to take up to initiate OER efforts at the university and be the lead of the state of New Mexico, because we're the only flagship university. So we hired an OER librarian, and then we very luckily, we got some seed funding, get things started, and then very luckily got a nice grant from the Department of Education, the US Department of Education, like $2 million. So we actually set up a consortium. But during this time, all the AI stuff starts coming up. And I personally felt that AI is a great way to enhance OER and even develop OER. But I don't know how good it is at this point. So, and the best way is to get people to experiment and then figure out how to do it. So we just get, say we have the grant money and we have other things, just pay some people to do it and write a section of the book for us. And it was great because if you read the article from Inside Higher Ed, there was a business school professor tasking this asking his business students to use generative AI to develop case studies, like the Harvard business case studies, and as a assignment. So and those case studies will become OER for other business classes to use. And for me, I'm particularly interested in the personalized learning part. Is that yes, you have a OER text that is, let's just say, static. I may understand it, but the next person may not understand it. How do you use generative AI to integrate it in a way that that OER is kind of alive, dynamic, that anybody can understand it in whatever way they feel comfortable. If I want to ask, I want the OER to explain this concept to me like I'm like a 10-year-old, I can do that. So people experiment with different aspects of it, or you know, it's always hard to come up with exam questions, but with this, it's a lot easier, or exercises for students. So they're trying different things. No, I don't think anybody has figured it out. So, but it's always good to share some of these things and may spark something new in another person. So I'm going to read some text.
Victoria from HKUST just shared two LibGuides from our library on AI literacy and also the AI tools for literature review. Yeah, so those are very useful and then very well designed LibGuides. So you're very more than welcome to take a look at them, and then reuse some parts of it if it's relevant.
Now, most of you probably work at universities, and I kind of, you know, I want to get a sense of where your faculty are. Are they embracing? Are they resistant of AI? Do they come to you? Do they come to the library for any kind of either assistance or complaints about AI? If you just put it in the chat, you know, whether they're positive, negative, you know, I feel that a lot of our faculty is still very resistant, even though there's some that are open to it. So to expand on the OER thing, I wanted to, because the English department at our place is actually one of the biggest user or developer of OERs for their composition classes, but yet I think they're quite resistant to using AI for either the classes or just the general concept of AI. So I wonder, mostly embracing because of engineering and business culture. Yeah. Yep. I also get a sense of the business schools are the most accepting of AI too.
Yeah, I think Leo, you gave us an idea. Perhaps we should do a faculty survey.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, as I chatted with you before you started, was that it's hard to describe the progress. You know, if you want to say, if you, for example, if we actually do a survey, I don't know how to ask the questions effectively. You know, how do you describe? What do you mean by embrace? Right? You know, how do you translate that into a questionnaire, or how to make a meaningful survey? I'm not sure. Probably you can give us some idea.
Yeah, if you want to partner up and do something together, I'll be happy to. I think with something like this, a initial survey just to ask their feelings will be fine, and then go in depth into for an interview. We'll get to know them a little bit more on how they feel.
Yeah, I guess there's many layers, right? The feeling, perception, practice, how much they actually use.
Yeah.
Or
right.
if they know they're using, or something, oh, I'm using, but in fact they may not be, or you know, but it's lots of variables there.
It's a explorational kind of survey, and I don't know, maybe survey the students as well. I mean, there are several ones. In the US, San Diego State has done one student survey, and Harvard has just did one. And yeah, they're all using it, but like 90% of the students are using it, or at least they admit to using it.
Yeah.
And the faculty, nowhere close to 90%, I'm sure of it. So there's a gap right there.
Do you see, it just came to me, because you mentioned earlier that your university, the students are mostly at the lower social economic class. Do you see any issues with the access, the gap that many the gap they access the technology?
I'm so glad you brought this up, because this is one of the big thing that I keep discussing with my provost, is the digital divide. I mean, AI has the potential to narrow it, but also had the potential to widen it, because already, people who are using the premium version have so much higher quality, AI than the people using the free version. And people using the free version may not even realize it until they have actually used the paid version. And it's the same thing. Then if it would keep widening probably. And then if we so-called embrace AI, and faculty want to use it in their classes, but who is going to pay for it? That means either the university has to pay for it, or they individually, or the faculty, someone has to pay for it, right? So that means that the more well-resourced universities, like right now, University of Michigan is paying for it, Arizona State is paying for it. We are not paying for it. So that can also widen that digital divide. So it's a real thing. And how do we make sure it is equitable and people have, equal access to it? So here's another resource I think will be very useful for our colleagues in Hong Kong. CNI and ARL, the two associations in the US, jointly form a task force to envision the AI in 10 years, basically, future scenarios. And I'll put the link in the chat so you can read the report. I was part of that task force. If you go to the link, and there's the final scenario set. If you read that PDF, it's really interesting. Looking at 4 quadrants of possible future scenarios, whether it's widely adopted by society or limited, or how intentional is the design of AI and all of that. So, but one of the things is, in one scenario, is a lot of the well-resourced, universities or institutions or companies will have all of it. The rich get richer and the poor, gets poorer. That kind of scenario. So we want to avoid that. I highly recommend reading that final scenario set. And then now we have gotten a grant to develop a toolkit based on the scenarios to help library leaders, or educate research leaders to think about how to position themselves. These are not predictions. These are just possible things that could happen. So it's an interesting read.
Yeah, thanks, Leo. I would recommend all of you with time to look at this report. And if you do, look at page 39. I printed that page out, so I posted on my corkboard in my bag. So if you don't want to go, if you don't have time to go through the details, look at the scenarios at the last few pages, as Leo mentioned, and page 39 particularly, because it's about roles of libraries in the 4 scenarios.
Yep.
So I leave it to Jennifer to pick up some of the questions and comments in the chat.
Okay, yeah. Cindy Liang from Hong Kong U Libraries recommended 2 links from their university on AI, generative AI for AI literacy, and also the how to facilitate learning and research with Gen AI. So thank you very much, Cindy. And then next to that, we got a question from Aileen. She wondered, like, what sort of questions would you ask as librarians or educators to understand the needs of the students in relation to AI use and application? So Leo,
Right. It's really, yeah, that's really important because they are using it, but I don't think they're using it with any kind of guidance at this point because faculty and even librarians are way behind. But we should be giving them guidance because if they are using it to do research, for example, or write papers and they come up with citations that are completely false and they don't verify and all of that, then they will get in trouble. They will say, you know, you're cheating. Although in this day and age, what is cheating? So it's really hard, and we're putting the students in a really difficult position. So, in fact, right now I'm developing a course for Sage on how to use AI to study for students, actually. And I raise a lot of the kind of questions in that they could, I mean, when faculty are behind, students could become the proactive party in some ways that say, I want to use AI for this assignment, use AI in this brainstorming, for example, and I want to maybe use it to correct my grammar in that. I mean, there are other, you know, even Microsoft Word can correct grammar, but, you know, in some ways, a little bit more personalized. Can I do that, right? Not every syllabi or the syllabus has AI guidance in there. If the students want to use it, maybe it's a good way to actually bring it up with the instructor and say, I want to use, can I use it? And then maybe that will actually make it a topic for the instructor to say, oh my God, I actually need to address this. Otherwise, it's all free for all and nothing. So, but there are also many other ways of using generative AI without, you know, just copying and pasting stuff. And students need to learn that. And it could be, it is in a way for them to become better, but they need to use it in a proper way. And that's why I want to teach the faculty and librarians first, because we should be in that position to teach them, but we are not. So some of you, Gabby raised the question of surveying students. That's a good way. I think I learned quite a bit from that San Diego State, you know, survey. And a lot of them also have similar concerns as us in the ethical concerns, the privacy, the copyrights and all of that. It's like, should I use it? Especially the good students. I mean, some students who just cut corner, which is, you know, it's human nature. I get that as well. So that's why you need guidance. All right.
Thank you, Leo. I posted another question from Leo. It's about how shall we, like Hong Kong educators or librarians, what should we do if we want to do a similar survey on AI literacy? And then what are the factors or the nuances we should consider when we design that survey? So if you have any inputs or sharings, please feel free to put into the chat or raise your hand to have a direct conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if any of you is interested in doing a survey or a group of you, I'll be happy to collaborate and then, you know, adapt it in a more of a Hong Kong context to make it more suitable. So once again, reach out to me if you're interested in doing that. I think it'll be very interesting to do it.
Yes, one notable thing is that OpenAI is blocked here. Yeah, so
Wait, really?
yes, it's blocked, and then we have to use VPN to access it. But POE.com is still open, so we normally will buy the subscription through POE to access GPT-4 or.
I thought one of the universities paying for it for people to use. No, it's not Hong Kong University or someone. Maybe I read it.
You mean POE or OpenAI?
Oh yeah, ChatGPT. I thought it was they're paying for the enterprise version, or I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong. So okay, so you cannot use OpenAI
Right.
and MS Copilot. Sorry, at Hong Kong U. Okay, but can you use Anthropic like Claude or any of the other ones?
That one, yes. Yeah.
Okay, just not OpenAI.
And also if we want to run like using the Llama of from Meta,
Yeah,
to install a local version, it's still also not it's also blocked. Yeah, so
interesting.
that's the thing. Yeah, we should consider when we survey
Yeah.
our
Oh, definitely.
environment. Yeah.
But okay, I would love to hear, what do people use? Okay, you are the audience. What do you use? What is your the most frequently used AI tool? If OpenAI is blocked, and maybe some of the other things can be POE, because POE can get you to pretty much all the other things. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You have your own ChatGPT, VPN. All right. I'm learning. I'm learning today.
I think, like UST, it's just like many other universities in Hong Kong. We the university subscribe to certain services to bridge the digital divide, right? And for example, at the beginning, we subscribed to ChatGPT at UST,
Yeah.
and then gradually they added others. So in fact, the URL at first is called ChatGPT or gpt.ust.hk. And I think now because they added more, they changed it to genai.ust.hk. So it's just interesting to see the trend. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sure it's other universities in Hong Kong have similar practice. So to you have a university institutional subscription to sort of bridge the OpenAI ban sort of
Yeah.
gap in Hong Kong.
That's good that the universities are doing that. I'm seeing several more CTUs offering both OpenAI Copilot. Thank you for sharing these links.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I noticed that we are about time to end, and also thank you so much for all of you who have shared your responses or inputs. So the the webinar will be recorded, and then later we will share the recording and also the chat conversation with everyone here, so that you can have a copy of it. And then we'll also share a survey to seek your feedback about today's event. Okay, so, and as Leo mentioned, this is not the end of the conversation. So in future, if you have anything or want to collaborate, please, or even among ourselves in Hong Kong institutions, please do stay in touch. And then, so yeah, so that's probably the end of our session. And then so we wish Leo a good evening, and then the rest of us a good day.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Leo. Thank you. Have a good evening. See you in November.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right.